right. Hello, everyone. Okay, let me mute my phone too. Maybe you've already arranged everything's off on your end so we can be as undisturbed as possible. I often think of some of the ancient texts we studied in teacher training, yoga teacher training. These texts, was it I'm forgetting the name now. It'll come to me. The suggestion for preparing your meditation space. And this is several thousand years ago in India, and your practice space. So for yoga or meditation is to, the floors were probably not concrete, but dirt floors. They said get a nice like animal skin to sit on or practice on, and let your space be as free of flies as possible. So I always think of, we do the best we can to make our space quiet and conducive to a good practice that we can really go inward, but you never know what pops up. So welcome everyone. Welcome to some of you who are newer to me. Allison, we met you last week. Kim, nice to meet you here. It's just a half hour, goes so quickly. And before I formally start by ringing my bell. I'll let you know that today the movement will be again on our backs. So I've got some space behind me. I will probably just stay seated and talk you through it. It's very simple, small movements where we just get more open, fold in more of what we are experiencing, that the way our minds and bodies are designed, so we don't exert a lot of effort. We have habits of how we do things that allow ourselves to be a little bit on automatic pilot, but then it helps us from time to time to really open beyond those patterns. So that's part of what we explore here. After the movement, we'll segue to meditation, and you can stay in the, which is just the same of observation, but being more still. You could stay in the reclined position. You could come up to sitting. Also, I have never done this whole practice seated. I always like to give you the option to be, let me just make sure. Yeah, we are recording. Last week I forgot to hit the record for this section. Fortunately, I had the YouTube as backup. See, whatever position, if you're in bed and you want to do this in bed, that's fine. If you're on a couch laying down, if you are I want to be in a seated position, you could do this in a chair or on an armchair, a softer chair. Possible, it'll just has a very different feel with gravity. I'm doing it reclining. All right, so let your space be as free of flies as possible. The sound of the bell might already have guided you a little deeper into this gateless gate of presence. I like to turn to these 3 pointers that my teachers, I learned from my current main teachers, Russell and Linda Dellman. They call their body of teachings the Embodied Life School. Sound, ground, breath. I don't often start with sound, although I do ring the bell, so in a sense I do start with sound. So just open to listening as we're coming through this gateless gate never closed to us, but we're often just diverting our attention in other ways rather than to this wholeness of ourself. So as you just open to sound, I just heard the air conditioning kick on next to me. You might hear it as a hum as well. I've got a bird chirping to my left. My mind jumps to maybe it's the cardinal. So we start to settle to this relaxed um, presence. Yes, and I think most of you, you're not on camera, and that's fine too. Most of you are already laying down, and that's fine. Actually, I was going to suggest that. Maybe I did in a kind of sideways way. So we're hearing sounds, we're sensing the ground. As we get quiet and listen, it almost starts to slow things down in terms of thinking. I start to feel ground. What's supporting us? It's as if the thinking part of mind slows a bit. It's still maybe bringing in like the label of cardinal. And the aperture of our perception opens softly. Just like when we're kind of sit down on a bench on a hike and we're just resting and allowing what comes to come, what visuals, what sounds, what thoughts, what emotions. And we may notice ourselves reacting with another thought, another emotion, but there's no need to do anything about it. Just welcome the perception. We might be sensing our breathing as we get quieter, just automatically you're noticing this lovely current of breath ever coming in, moving out. Ever serving us even when we're not noticing, when we may be even tightening against it. And so now as we do give it more, bring it more front and center, maybe noticing the letting go. Just allowing a little more space for the breath. And in a sense, our own relationship to the breath. So more restful, more presence, more space. And yet integrated with the breath as it connects us with the air that comes from outside to in, and then what we release goes out, and sound connecting us how we hear inside with the mechanisms of our ear and our brain, our nervous system, and we even feel the sound waves on our body with the outer maybe cause of sound, And sound is a little bit of a code word for all space around, all that's around us, the walls, the windows, the gardens beyond, the trees, the next door house or apartment, on and on. So this little bit of a beginning meditation, now we can segue to a little movement. If you're sitting in a chair, you can keep both knees bent. If you're on the ground, let one leg be long and one leg be bent at the knee. So one leg is standing. And just see how that shifts. You might even bend and straighten that leg just slowly. Just see how do I accomplish that? What has to move in my body? What has to make effort to bring the knee to a bent position? Does it engage my core, my lower back? Maybe there's another way where coming from straight to bent is easier. Another way might be you can find some options. A different angle of bending the leg. And then let the knees stay bent. You're just relaxed in the shoulders, relaxed in the breath. And ever so lightly, pick up the hip of the bent leg. So if you're sitting and both knees are bent, just choose one side to work with. Just lift the hip a tiny little bit, tiny, tiny little bit. My teacher sometimes says, unweight it, unweight. Let it float a tiny bit. So it might still be touching the ground, but you lift a little and relax back down. Just a tiny movement. As I'm doing this in my mind, which is also a powerful practice, I'm imagining I'm doing it on the right side. And the right side gets lighter, tiny bit, and something has to happen to allow that. Some shift in the insides of you. More weight might come to the other side, the long leg, or to the upper back, to the leg that might be pushing in to help lifting the hip a little. And do this repeatedly, but when you come back down, pause completely, come to a full stop. Maybe even take a breath or half a breath before pushing again, lifting. And let yourself be guided by, instead of just getting it right or just doing it for the sake of doing because I'm suggesting it, feel the whole body and how you maybe shift. If you felt the space that you take up in the room, the whole structure of you, the whole sculpture of you changes shape a little tiny bit. And how you may be pairing this with your breathing. Or not, that's fine. And allowing this to feel happy and joyful and interesting and whole, engaging all of yourself lightly, easily. Okay, let it go. Note to yourself which side you've been working with. We may never get to the other side, but the other side is benefiting, even just by mirror, it's the body and brain, it's mirror knowing. While you pause, I'm going to read you something I put in one of my notebooks, 20 years ago. It was from a card I sent to my nephew. It's a quote from Lewis Carroll's writing, Alice in Wonderland. "There is no use in trying," said Alice. "One cannot believe impossible things." "I dare say you haven't had much practice," said the Queen. "When I was your age, I always did it for a half an hour a day. Why, sometimes I'd believe as many as 6 impossible things before breakfast." So part of why and what is happening in this practice is we're looking beyond, we're feeling, looking, exploring beyond the realm of what is known to us regularly, and opening to what might seem impossible. Touching into potential, to creativity, or just to other parts of us that have shut down a little, or shut down, that are not online as much in our regular day-to-day activity. Okay, so now let's start with, you might have straightened your legs. Sorry, I should have given you that option, or just paused where you were, or bent both knees. But now come back to the same positioning, so same leg bends if you're on the ground. And before you do anything, as I alluded to earlier, don't do, but just imagine yourself getting heavier on the one side, but lighter on the side, the leg of the side with the bent leg. And then relax back down in your imagination, pause. I find it's actually very hard not to move when we're doing imagining this way. So give yourself a break if that's what's happening. But just to the degree possible, imagine and feel what happens, the little bit of initiation that happens inside the body as you imagine the lift, the redistribution of weight through your body, through what happens at the shoulders or even at the neck, and as you lower back down. And now, pause and interlace your fingers, and you'll turn your palms forward, so the knuckles will rest against, let's move our head to face, and then face, if your right knee is bent, face to the right. So you rest your knuckles against the left side of your head. So whichever was the hip that was unweighting, was lifting, turn to face in that direction. The nose points in that direction. And then the back of the hand, of the clasped hand, rest against the head. And just find this to be comfortable for yourself, so the neck's not strained, the shoulders, if you're on the ground, one elbow may be touching, the other might not, or they might neither be touching. And then take the same movement. You can start with the imagining it, and then actually do it, or a little combination of both, of unweighting the hip a little bit and feeling the whole of yourself. This may accentuate a little more what's happening in the upper body. Slowly, lightly, a moving meditation where we're very open to all that's is given to us to perceive in this movement, in our combined with our surroundings, with our breath, with the ground. Couple times, and actually you could pause now. Release your hands, release your arms, release the bent leg, or if you're sitting, just stay as you are in the legs. Just take note, just a few movements, a few moments of this open, relaxed attention. To our allness. Something may feel different and new in the body, in the nervous system, the mind. And then your choice to actually do this or just imagine it. You could put the hands in place, but now turn your head in the other direction and bend the other knee. And just from that position, perhaps just imagine that you're moving, the lifting and lowering of that side hip or actually do it. Allowing for this openness of all parts working together for enjoyability, ease, harmony. These setting our intentional GPS that way allows us to include more of ourselves and to just shift from that mode of some of the patterns of having to get things right that may be kind of background, but they're powerful, of whichever kind of goals that we seem to be infused in from our learning and society. But here to welcome all. And then you decide you can keep moving a few more times. You can come to stillness. You can pause and do a few more movements with the head at neutral. Just, in other words, some free play time for about the next 2 minutes, not very long, 2 minutes. And toward the end of that, if you choose, you can come up to sitting or you can do the meditation from where you are. And you could have just, one choice was just to be still already. Just feel the reverberations of the practice we've just done. You can begin to segue to stillness, just getting the position, whether you're stay on the ground or come up to seated, or if you've been seated and you just want to adjust for about 5 minutes of stillness, silence, meditation. And all the same cues, all the guidance I've given so far for our centering into presence through the gateless gate, into presence, and in our movement, all still apply, except just not moving. The breath will be moving, but otherwise we're just like that being sitting on a bench, letting what comes come, letting what goes go, and seeing what remains. Have a good journey, about 5 minutes together. again and again, if you ever, as we all do, feel like we step off the meditation, that's a right there is a point of celebration, and simply come back. That's actually like strengthening the muscle of staying, like our dog command, stay. It's a benefit, not a problem. And as you hear the bell, you may shift to seated and bow, or you can stay where you are and take a bow. This signifying of the end of our practice, of the end of our shared practice, and the honoring of many, many differences, but honoring each of us as we are and together. And honoring yourself, giving yourself some kudos, kudos for coming to the practice. Yes. So thank you so much. I hope as you go through our days doing this, plugging in like this together with our support into this meditative practice of opening to the all. So all of us, we're just the way we're human. And to our good functioning, we need, as I mentioned earlier, we need to do things a lot in a rote way. Otherwise, we'd be, learning to drive each time we get in the car. That's not efficient. But then to remember to open up a little bit more, just to pause, just to feel, especially through our senses, the ground, the breath, opens us to, another possibility here, whether it's in a relationship or in problem solving of any kind. So thank you so much. Check the listings for Sun and Moon happenings this summer, and I'm sure the fall schedule will be coming out pretty soon in a few weeks. There's a wonderful teacher. I think he's coming up next weekend, Doug Keller, who will be teaching in person and probably also in Zoom. So let me say goodbye to the YouTubers, and then I'll stop the recording on the Zoom. Whoops. Ciao, ciao, YouTubers. See you next week.